on the, because I was trying to see if there was one, it just reverts back to her page. That's all it does. It just loads her page again.
It was cool because we got somebody had said somebody had posted on Facebook, hey, my friend's band's got a Wikipedia page. I'm like, we do, and it was actually pretty well done. And then about a year later, and then somebody was bragging about on our YouTube channel that they had deleted our page on them.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit for no real reason.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I left my other band. It feels like there's a lot of animosity for no real reason.
I don't. You know what?
Like.
I was like, I can give you one reason to hate the band, Scotty.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of shit. So.
No, and I don't know why. I think you guys like, I don't know. You guys have like a great mixture of a lot of things. And like you said, there's a lot of diversity, especially on Seeing Red, where like no track feels like it's the same. I don't feel like there's a copy and paste going on with that album. I feel like every song it stands on its own with its own strength. You know what I'm saying? Like if you could release anything. So in speaking of your album, talking about Seeing Red, your music video for it features an absolute fucking legend in professional wrestling. Okay. Yeah. So what I want to talk about is the relationship you have not only with former ECW World Heavyweight Champion Justin Credible, but your relationship with BattleFront Pro as well.
It's a weird one.
We got time.
It's a weird one. Credible, all right, when I trained for wrestling, I'm 27 now. So 7 years ago.
Hey, it's your story. You're sticking to it, brother.
Damn right. Kayfabe. I'm going to go back and say, when I was trained by Jason Knight from ECW, who was Justin Credible's manager. Mm-hmm. Doing shows, I had just, occasionally he would stop by, I would see him. And eventually we kind of became not friends, but we became, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up? Whatever. And when my career ended and I went into business, and I won't go into details about why my career ended, but I got hit up by Credible years later when he'd gotten let go from WWE. Mm-hmm. And I'm out of work. Can you hire me? So I gave him a job because he went from making like this much a year when they didn't re-sign the contract, nothing. So he lost it. Houses, cars, his house, his cars, everything. He lost it all.
Wow.
And so I got a job. And in time, I had multiple locations for my business, and I wasn't even working with him at that location. And the management and the owner was talking to me about how apparently people are dropping stuff off to him. And it was, it was rumored painkillers or whatever, which wrestling's a messy business, especially then. It's better now. Back then, when I left wrestling, like I said, I won't talk about the reasons why I left, but I left for good reasons. It wasn't looking any better, which it's kind of, come full circle since then. Music industry sucks now and wrestling industry is great. But back then music was a bitch. It was the other way around. So what happened was I was told about this. I had to talk to him. He kind of got pissed off at me. Next thing you know, I was like, he denied everything. And next thing you know, they're like, no, we fired him. There was more stuff happened. So 2 days later, he's doing a show. And I got a picture of him and Ric Flair holding a saying, "Hey Scott, fuck you." And I was like, "Oh man!"
Wow.
Like you really had to tell me to. All right, you tell me to fuck you, I can deal with that. But you brought Ric Flair as the argument, like God himself. Yeah, woo! I'm like, serious,
bro. I'm sorry, but that wasn't a fuck you. That was a fuck you forever. Okay, because that is brutal.
So I didn't talk to him for about 10 years. And I literally was like, so I would ask around. I had some wrestling friends once in a while, how's PJ doing? And I'd hear, oh, he's good, he's bad, he's not looking good. So, oh, he's doing a lot better. It's always this up and down thing. And I knew PJ. The guy, I say I knew him better than most at that point in time. And I truly loved the guy. but I was hearing about him dying from other people's input. Really upsetting. It was like I couldn't reach out and say, hey, but at the same time, I'm hearing just bad things.
Yeah.
And things are getting worse than better. And all of a sudden, I sent a message out to a fellow worker after he had a big in Connecticut, actually. And I'm like, just tell him, if you see him, just tell him I'm thinking about him and I'm hoping the best for him. Or don't tell him that, catch him in a good mood. And 2 days later, a friend of mine, Ryan, text me, hey, bro, guess who I'm with? And I'm like, who? Incredible. And I'm like, well, don't tell him you're texting me, asshole. And he's like, no, he's listening to Crossing Rubicon. He fucking loves you guys. I'm like, what? And I'm like, I was told fuck you with him and Ric Flair. Like, at the end of that conversation.
Correction, so fuck you forever was what you were told.
And I was so like, what? And he texted me, miss you, brother. I can't believe we haven't talked in forever. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you told, like, seriously? He goes, dude, I was ribbing you. Then I'm like, well, you don't rib me with Ric Flair ever again. Ever. So long story short, too late, I know. I'm talking with him. I meet him up for coffee. We have first time talking to him for forever. It was just love fest all over again. But I started talking because he's got this documentary he's doing. And they want me in the documentary. So I did some scenes for the documentary. I did some filming for the documentary. I'm actually in the trailer for the documentary. When the documentary's going to drop, I don't know. But it's kind of cool. I'm in there with Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and X-Pac. I'm in company. But not with them, you know.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, I was like, I kind of wanted to do like a music video. Like the movie is going to be like, it's a biography. I always say it was almost like The Wrestler, but the real story. And I kind of want to do a music video where wrestling is a metaphor for life. And in general, it always is. And so is music. That's why it's an art form, just like music is. So I wanted to tell the story that I wrote about myself. The song that I wrote about myself, and a lot of it was actually dealing with hate and resentment, anger, and even, like I said, even in death threats from people that just hated on our music.
Wow. And
I kind of wrote that. That's kind of what that song was about. And like, whatever you think about me, I'm going to still be here doing what I do, and there's nothing you're going to tell me to stop. And I kind of was like, I can make the wrestling metaphor of the life of an aging professional wrestler and tell the story of them. Like, you know, whatever the press tells you about me, whatever the world thinks about me, whatever your friends tell you about me, I'm going to get back in that ring time and time again, and I'm not going to stop. And I kind of wanted to make that story almost be like a positive thing. So basically, the wrestling is a metaphor for what I'm going through. So he acts it out, and that actually tells the story of the song. And I will say this to the day I die, Crossing Rubicon albums, songs, music videos that we've done in the past, that is the greatest thing I have ever done.
It's very well put together. It's such a creative, like, and I could see if that was like a real wrestling storyline, to be honest with you. It was like a journey through a smaller version of what you would see in professional wrestling, which is, you know, something me personally I can agree with, because I love that storytelling, and it's why professional wrestling draws me in, is because there's a story to be told, and how they get there is more interesting. It doesn't matter, well, in my mind, it doesn't really matter who is going to win at the end. I want to see, how are they going to get to that story? How are they going to get to the heel getting what he deserves, or the baby face overcoming, you know? It's a beautiful thing, man. And I think your video is extremely well put together, with a lot of the scenes that you guys used, and it features my favorite wrestler, Ryan. No,
stupid.
Yeah, we when we were working with BattleFront for it, got like kind of checked them out and started going up the shows up there, and we ended up in a storyline. It got delayed a little bit, so Scott and Ryan pretty much figured out a storyline.
Yeah, we had a 6-month storyline going
versus on Ryan. with
Ryan's jealousy to get involved in the music video, was great because the first time we did it, I make this announcement, and was that one? Yes. Okay, so I make the announcement. Credible was supposed to be in Indianapolis, and people knew that I was there with Credible all the time. So people are even saying, Credible, your partner, he's in Indianapolis. I know it sucks, but we got to make an announcement. I wish he could be here tonight. And it was true. Like, it was, so I go out to make this announcement. Then Ryan comes out, starts talking shit. I start talking shit back. Jeannie's there with me. All of a sudden, he goes to shake my hand. Then he takes the microphone and smacks me over the head with it, beats the shit out. Jeannie gets involved. He goes to push her off. And then just when shit hits the fan, Just Incredible's music comes on. He comes in for the save. Everybody was shocked. It was pretty awesome. And we announced the music video shoot, and they had to postpone it because of Credible's schedule at the time. So they're like, well, well, Scott knows how to wrestle. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, you can wrestle him. And I'm like,
it became beef between Scott and
and I'm like, dude, I haven't wrestled in a ring in almost 20 years. And they're like, hey, it's like riding a bike. And I'm like,
yeah.
I went back to Slick School and did a night to remember if I could bump and not look like a complete asshole. And we did stuff where Ryan showed up at a Rubicon show and beat the crap out of me. I quit wrestling altogether, and then I said, after he beats me up after the fact, and then I call him out and I want to match with him. And I'm not going to go over too much, but for having not wrestled forever, we ended up having what was some people said the night match of the night. It was pretty fucking cool. It came out really good, and it's like a lot of that's like in his school to Ryan, and to Alex Rojas for, really, helping us put something together that actually told a story. And it was pretty cool, and we ended up doing the music video.
Well, I got hit by a kendo stick.
Yes, she got hit by a kendo stick.
And once again, getting me out of my comfort zone.
I was gonna say, what was that pain sensation when he comes down and he hits you with a kendo stick? Like,
yeah, I told him last night, and he was just like, oh, really? I was like, just went in shock. They're like, yeah, you take a hit and then just lay there. And I'm like, okay, I can do that.
And it's so great.
And then I was like, I can't do anything but lay here. I'm like, ow.
The other wrestlers were sitting on the ring, and they're like, you okay? Are you okay? And I just sort of whispered to her, I was like, don't answer that. Don't answer that. And
it's a test.
It was fine. I didn't have to play anything. I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because he did not hold back. I told him not to hold back. But I can't believe people on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, that's insane. But to be honest with you guys made me a fan of Battlefront for real, man. I showed up to the first show because of seeing what you guys were posting, and I'm just like, I was living in Florida for 12 years, and a lot of times I was seeing what was going on in the Florida scene and stuff like that, and it's some pretty interesting stuff. You've got like WrestleFest that goes on in like Gainesville and stuff like that, where they go pretty hard, and then on top of that, NXT tours pretty regularly within the Florida state. So, when I came here, I'm just like, check out this wrestling show. And I went, and then I came back, and my wife was like, how was it? And I was like, it's amazing. You should go. And my wife, I took her to the All-Tone show, and she left with me and her both left with Just Incredible's blood on our clothes. And she left with wow, this actually is really good. And my wife's not a huge wrestling fan. So there's something you guys, especially Battlefront is doing something good if you can get someone like my wife who isn't what you would call a normal wrestling fan,
to be entertained. Yeah.
Exactly.
And bringing music back into it and intertwining that.
And I think that's a cool thing that they're doing, in using the music to kind of show the relationship that music and wrestling actually go really hand in hand, to be honest with you. You have to sell yourself, you have to build yourself up, you have to do a lot, even in the way of like the business in wrestling. You have to produce your own merch, you have to be able to be accessible to fans and stuff like that. And music and wrestling, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I was a big fan of the I was doing some booking for them, and I kind of kept pushing for that because I was a big fan of the rock and wrestling era in the 80s, even though I'm only 27. What kind of sold WrestleMania 1 was the MTV. because WrestleMania was a big gamble by Vince McMahon.